Funding for Off 90 is provided in part by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.
Cruising your way next, Off 90. Take a spin down the tracks in a motorized rail car. See vibrant colors dance on an artist's easel. Watch two generations of musicians meet for the first time. And Driven by Rhythm takes us to heaven. It's all coming up on your next stop, Off 90. Hi, I'm Barbara Keith. Thanks for joining me on this trip, Off 90. The days of hobos riding handcars are long gone. One of the reasons is because those handcars were replaced by motorized rail cars. However, that instinct to see the country by rail has remained. In Redwood Falls, we caught up with a group of railway motorcar enthusiasts who still ride the rails. All aboard!
We do it because we have fun doing it. It's kind of like the motorcyclists who go out and ride the highways with their motorcycle groups. We just do it with our railroad cars.
It's our first trip.
If you haven't broke down, you haven't been at motor car owner.
That's
Simple
what
as
they
that.
say, but
When you have equipment that's 40 and 50 years old, you're going to have an occasional breakdown, so that's nothing to be surprised about. So he's just going to load his car up, get it off to the side, and then we'll find some open seats and he'll ride with the rest of the group then this afternoon. These vehicles are called numerous things. They call them speeders, poppers, jiggers, railroad maintenance vehicles.
So this is a Fairmont built, what's called an MT-19A. It has a cab and inspection windows on it. And this would have been manufactured originally back in the 1980s and worked on the rail itself. It was completely restored, doesn't look much like it. It needs a paint job right now.
Oh, I just replaced the carburetor. This is its first excursion other than some test runs. So I was having carburetor troubles. I carry a spare, so I carry a lot of spare parts.
This is the chance to come out between, say, May and October to enjoy the out of doors, get out from behind a desk, and really see parts of the country and North America that I've never had a chance to see.
Right here are all of the books of pictures from Fairmont Railway Motors. And the pictures include virtually everything that they produced at Fairmont Railway Motors. Railway Motors was a company that made rail cars, these inspection cars, and they were made originally, they didn't have engines, they didn't have motors. And what really prompted their growth was back in the early 1900s, there were a couple of guys in a machine shop that were making some motors for farmers. And they decided, you know, why don't we try this with these inspection cars, these rail cars? And they developed a motor car, and that was something that opened up the motor cars for the railroad industry. At one time in Fairmont, Railway Motors employed 1 out of every 9 or 10 people. Today we started at North Redwood. We went west over to Bellevue, came back to North Redwood, and this afternoon we're going to travel over hopefully to Winthrop and then back to North Redwood today.
It's a turntable that runs off the 12-volt battery. It saves your back.
This is something that we coordinate with the railroads. We have to get their permission in order to run on their track.
Oh, today this is great PR. This is the 4th or 5th year they've come. They come from all over the nation. I'm Julie Rath. I'm the administrator for the Minnesota Valley Regional Rail Authority, who owns the track that we're riding on today. We have 94.7 miles of track that runs from Norwood Young America all the way to Hanley Falls. So it traverses through 5 counties, 16 communities. I like riding it because it gives me a better perspective of what's happening on the track. When you're driving by on the road, you see the track, but you don't know what's going on between here and the next town.
We have, I believe, 29 or 30 cars today, and I think they're all Fairmonts, if I recall right. I mean, Fairmont for us is the place for all of our cars. It's kind of a sacred ground for us speeder operators. This is called the Birth Record Room, and it contains all of the records of all the engines and motor cars that were made at Fairmont Railway Motors. And there's probably in excess of over 100,000 cards. That's an example of a record of a car that was made or an engine that was made. I get contacts from throughout the United States, Canada, Australia, England, and what they want to know is the original, where the car originally came from, and the original specs on the vehicle. With the advent of the high rail, it made motor cars obsolete, and the railroads at the time were selling them for probably $200–300 at the auction. Now these cars are probably worth, $3,000 to $4,000, depending on the nature of the cars.
This is now my 20th year, and I've had 27,000 miles on the car.
The scenery is just breathtaking all the time, especially when those of us who are used to the flatlands come out and get up into the mountains. We find that very scenic. Those people who come from the mountains and come out here to the flatlands can't believe the beauty of the flatlands, so I guess a lot of it's in the eye of the beholder. It's just fun to see the different scenery, like the day we rode through the Minnesota Valley between North Redwood and Morton, and that's a very beautiful section of track there. Go over the Minnesota River Bridge, and it's just the beauty that you see along the rail lines, just the part that I enjoy the most.
Laurie Miller likes color. She spends her free time painting her vibrant canvases with animated eagerness. Laurie's genres range from realistic to the abstract, but always with a flair for lively color.
I do get cranky if I'm not painting. If I haven't been creative in a couple of days, it's like this bottled up energy inside me that just has to come out, and I have to do it. So I like to paint, and it makes me happy. I'm Laurie Miller, and I'm an artist. I paint abstract paintings primarily, but a lot of impressionistic work as well. And what that means is I paint something that you can recognize. You'll know exactly what it is, but I'll have my own twist to it. For instance, I'll paint a bunny rabbit with 17 different colors, or a horse with 17 different colors, or a landscape, but it has my own twist to it. Abstracts are something that only your imagination can appreciate. When I'm painting, I'm not really thinking about anything other than exactly what I'm looking at, making it very therapeutic to paint. I love to paint, and I think I love it because I'm completely by myself, and I'm not by myself all day long, so it's my alone time. And all I think about is one color blending with another color and the strokes and making it look how I want it to look. I've always been interested in art ever since I was a little kid. I took as many art classes that were available all through school. It was my favorite class. At home, I drew every day. It was about 6 months into my painting career, and 1 week in April, a person flew here from Connecticut because they liked so many of my paintings, and when he got here, he actually bought 6 paintings. And I took a picture of the check and all the cash that he gave me, and it was really a great day. Really a great day. I painted a scene of a park in Albert Lea where I grew up, and it's called Pioneer Park. And I love it so much, and when my mom saw it, I just brought it to show her, and she just blew up with happiness and said, "Oh, Laurie, that's where we took you as kids. Remember we had picnics?" And it was just she was so excited, instantly found a place on the wall for it. So it became her painting. Well, I always think that if you're not having fun, it's not worth it. And I never not have fun when I paint. So I do it as often as I can. It makes me happy. It's my passion, so I will do this until I die.
What would happen if you brought 2 of Minnesota's most talented violinists, one young and one older, and you put them in a room together without telling them that they both shared the same love for the violin? That's in this next segment, Off 90.
Ready? Don't go so fast that your fingers miss. Again. My name is Linda Thompson. I'm a Suzuki violin teacher. Fabrizio is well-spoken. He's well-behaved. He practices pretty regularly. He's a quick learner, and he likes to put his soul, his personality into the music.
I started when I was 4, and my mom and dad signed me up because they wanted me to play violin, and ever since I started, I really liked it.
I think the environment, having 3 older brothers and a father who also play, has got to be quite an influence.
I think the violin, it makes a beautiful sound, and it can have ringing tone, and ringing tone is where it sounds like perfect. My favorite thing with working with Linda is how she helps me if I get something wrong, and she's patient.
But I'm going to add another note. Good. We have so many physical things that have to be in place before music even begins to be a part of it. I am teaching muscles and tendons to react to the signals coming from the brain, and then once those are established, we can add the music. Ready for the metronome? Yep. Start again and ready, go. I think John comes at violin from a totally different standpoint than I do after we learned violin and how he's using it in his life today. And he travels to Europe to do some violin making and repair and other courses, as well as to learn new music.
Fourth grade, I got a letter in the mail saying I'd be good on the violin. So that meant I must have taken some kind of a test, and they wanted kids that had fairly decent hearing, and I was one of them. By the 8th grade, I was put in the senior high school orchestra. We'd do concerts, and I remember feeling a thrill playing really good music, orchestral music, with a group.
It inspires me how the notes can sound different just by a slightly change. And it also makes a beautiful sound.
It's a very demanding instrument, but really satisfying once you've grasped those elements of it.
I think that this will make an interesting pair of violinists. I think that they might make some fun music together.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Nice to meet you.
I'm John.
I'm Fabricio.
Fabricio. Okay. You live in Rochester? Nice. Nice. I got a few things I want to ask you about and find out a little bit more about each other. Tell me something that most people don't know about you.
Well, mostly everyone knows that I play violin, but I like to draw too.
So you're an artist?
Not really, I just draw pictures.
Oh, so, okay. And violin?
Yes, violin.
Wow. How long have you been playing violin?
Since 4.
Since age 4? You know what?
What?
I play violin too.
Oh.
Yeah. In fact, I teach violin. So, I don't know, you ready for a surprise?
What?
You want to look under the cover there? Does that look familiar?
Yeah.
What else is there?
I'm guessing you're a violin.
I'm a violinist too, yeah. Think we ought to do a tune?
Probably.
Do you know any tunes? Don't press it all, just let it sit on there. It's like a fly landed on your strings. There you go, you're getting there. There it is, yay! So, let's play a tune. 2, 3. Playing violin with someone else is the excitement over finding kind of a niche or a spot where you're totally together, synchronizing with someone else, and same pitch, same rhythm, same tone. And just kind of talking musically with someone else. So it's kind of what it feels like to me.
Pretty cool.
Wasn't that cool? So much fun to just kind of be your own composer. So that's kind of what I do a lot. Give me a fist bump for that. Nice job.
Bob and Ellen make up the band Driven by Rhythm. They play rock favorites, deep cuts, and their own compositions in an Americana style. We caught a performance at the Harris Peace Garden in Austin. Here they are performing their song, Heaven.
Seems so far away. is my morning time, when the trees cast their shadows in longer lines. Thank you very much.
We've reached the end of this tour off 90. Thanks for riding along. See you next time. But before we go, here's a bit of history about Soldiers Field in Rochester.
In 1924, the American Legion purchased several acres in southeast Rochester to create a park dedicated to veterans and amateur athletes. 3 years later, Soldiers Field Memorial Park became part of the city's park system. A 6-hole golf course opened in 1927. A football field, running track, baseball diamond, and field house were installed by 1929. Rochester High School used the park for athletic events until 1958. A swimming pool opened during record-breaking heat in July 1936. The most notable park event was in 1934, when Franklin Delano Roosevelt awarded Dr. Charles and Dr. William Mayo American Legion citations. Hundreds of people flooded the park to witness the president speak. In 1997, ground broke for construction of a Veterans Memorial, modeled after Washington, D.C.'s Vietnam Veterans Memorial, with a black granite wall of remembrance. In 2015, the park became the central location of Rochester Fest.
Funding for Off 90 is provided in part by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.